I need to look this up. Orseund Iris? Orseund Iris. I think that's how you say it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have another DIY project for you guys, and it is to recreate the Orseund Iris racerback sport tank. Orseund Iris has like super unique pieces. Honestly, if I could afford anything from their line, I would buy it. Like their open back satin top, I would love to own that. I might try to recreate that. Let me know if that's something you want me to try to recreate. But today we're actually going to be recreating the racerback sport tank. And I thought this would be a really easy one to do, considering it's just some detailing on a basic tank top. So I actually purchased this green tank and then a black version, which I ended up DIYing. Initially I was going to DIY this green version, but I ended up doing the black one first. So it has the same detailing in terms of the stitch pattern, but it doesn't have like the exact paneling like the original one. But it's a pretty close dupe for it, and it looks really cute. So if you want to learn how to recreate this, then please keep on watching. So you can see here the collar is about like an inch thick, and it has double stitching in the same color as the top, but we want that to be contrast stitching, so we'll be applying that, and we'll also be doing the outlines on the chest to highlight the bust area. To create the initial pattern, I first put my tank top on inside out. I then took a pencil and marked roughly where the pattern should go so that it would sit properly on my body. I then traced the shape from my top onto some tracing paper to finalize the shape of the pattern. And this is the pattern that I'll use in a later step when I transfer it onto the black shirt. For this DIY, it was a bit challenging because one of the things is that you want to maintain the stretch of your top, or else like if you put it on, it's not gonna fit you properly and it's gonna like bunch in weird places and stuff. We want clean straight stitches that are high contrast and thick and visible from afar. So that was definitely a challenge. I went searching on the internet to see if there was any type of like stretch thread or some sort of stitch type that would maintain stretch on your knit fabric. And I came across this. So yeah, this is Maxi Lock. You can see it has like a whole bunch of different fibers, and that is what gives it some sort of stretching ability. So I started experimenting with Maxi Lock in the machine, and it was quite messy. It would get stuck inside the machine, like the plate. It was just a bad time. It would result in these kind of like fuzzy pull sections a lot. And then I gave up, and then I decided to give it another shot and like actually did it on this. And that's when I found out it was like decently okay on sections that were thicker. So like right here where the armhole is, it was all right. Definitely a possibility to do like the armholes in the neckline if you do want to do it on the machine. I just prefer the hand stitch look, and I think it'll look more cohesive overall, so I will be undoing these ones and then hand stitching it again. Might take a while. I guess that's kind of like my mini explanation around like how I got to the decision to do hand stitching, and then once it's done I'll put it on and show you guys a comparison to this plain green one, and I'll show you the finished black version. Just been hand stitching with this guy, and it's been working really well. This is all these different little fibers in the Maxi Lock thread, which kind of like give it its stretching ability a bit. So like you can like pull on it, straightens out, smooths out. This is what the underside of my stitching looks like, and it looks like this because when I stitch it, I do a back stitch. I think that's what it's called. I don't really know. And I also stretch out the fabric when I stitch, so it accommodates for some stretching, and that way when I wear this again I'll still be able to fit into it, and it can like stretch overall and not be like super tight and tensioned on certain areas.
When stitching, you'll want to make sure that the material is stretched throughout the process. Coming ahead of your last stitch, you'll want to back stitch on the existing stitches of the top, using them as a guide to complete the contrast stitching details. By stitching with the top stretched out, it will help in providing slack on the underside of the top, which results in the long stitches that you see underneath here. This will help maintain stretch for your top so it can still fit you perfectly. Sometimes I will sew the back stitch by threading the needle through 2 points at once, and it can be a bit faster than stitching in an up-down pattern. Either method works just as well. Back stitch in whichever method works best for you. After completing all the contrast stitching on the armholes and the collar of the tank top, the next thing was to transfer the cup patterns back onto the top. Using some tracing paper, I traced out my pattern, making sure to label the left and the right side separately as to not mix them up. After creating the pattern, you'll want to cut it out and apply chalk to the underside of it so the pattern can be transferred over. Measuring out the distance carefully on either side to make sure everything is aligned perfectly, I place the pattern onto my top, chalk side down. Taking a pattern rolling tool, I use this to press onto the lines of the pattern to transfer it onto my top. You can use a pencil or a pen to do this as well, no need for fancy equipment. And upon lifting up the pattern, you should have a transferred chalk pattern on your top, which can then be used as a guide for stitching.
That's it for this DIY project, you guys. It's super straightforward to do, just a little time consuming, I would say. I definitely watched a lot of Netflix while I was stitching this top myself. I think I finished the whole season of Too Hot to Handle, so that's what I was watching while I was making it. I love the detailing. It's very unique. It's not something that you would find in store per se. So definitely something worth recreating if you want a dupe for that Orseund Iris top. I'll definitely leave a link for the original down below as well in case you do want to just purchase it and support the brand, because I think all their stuff is really amazing. If you ever recreate any of my DIYs, please use the hashtag Deconstrut so I can find all your lovely projects. I love seeing recreations. I think it's really awesome and flattering when people actually try out my tutorials. So be sure to do that so I can find yours. I post DIY videos on this channel. If that's something you enjoy, please like and subscribe down below. And I'll see you guys next time in another DIY video. Alright, bye!